I get a lot of people who come up to the tours desk or ask me on my tours, is the place really haunted? Oh yeah, it's haunted.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the creepiest places throughout the world that are said to be haunted.
Waverly Hills is the place where ghostly sightings are almost a daily occurrence.
Number 20, the Island of the Dolls. Xochimilco, Mexico City, Mexico.
So he put the dolls there to keep the spirit of the girl in peace.
For many, dolls are scary enough. Never mind an island full of them. But that's just what you get with Isla de las Muñecas, an eerie little place located in the Xochimilco canals, just south of Mexico City. It is famous for the hundreds of dolls that hang from trees, fences, and buildings throughout the island, which creates a deeply unsettling atmosphere. Legend has it that a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera started hanging dolls in the trees to honor the spirit of a girl who had drowned nearby. The island is now said to be haunted by the spirits of the girl and other lost souls, with visitors hearing footsteps and even seeing the dolls move of their own accord.
Oh my God. Oh my God. One of them's laughing.
Number 19, Mary King's Close, Edinburgh, Scotland.
Step down into Edinburgh's hidden history and reveal the dark past of its former residents.
A close refers to a narrow alleyway or lane that is often found between buildings in old Scottish cities. Enter Mary King's Close, a historic street that was shuttered and buried beneath the Edinburgh city chambers. Many of the old buildings and artifacts are frozen in time, creating an eerie atmosphere that fuels many ghost stories. Like the one of Annie, a little girl said to have died of the plague in the 17th century. She now haunts the close and is often seen crying and searching for her lost doll. And that is not including the myriad apparitions, strange noises, and cold spots that visitors are said to experience on a near-daily basis.
Which is probably one of the reasons why there are ghost stories. There was an awful lot of death and anguish that went on here.
Number 18, Hoabbachu Forest, Cluj-Napoca, Romania.
This is a place called the Hoabbachu Forest, one of the most haunted forests in the world. It's known as the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania.
Found just west of the Romanian city of Cluj-Napoca is the Hoabbachu Forest, which some people refer to as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. This is owing to the many creepy stories that have emerged from its borders throughout the years. Perhaps the most famous is a UFO sighting from the 1960s, in which a biologist named Alexandru Sift allegedly captured photographs of a flying disc-shaped object over the forest. The forest is also known to affect electronic devices like cameras and phones, and visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices coming from the dense foliage. Forests are definitely creepy, but this one takes the general creep factor one step further.
Jess, behind you, on the right, on the right, on the right.
I'm seeing on camera.
I'm seeing on camera.
Oh my God, Phil, there's somebody out here with me.
Number 17, West Virginia Penitentiary, Moundsville, West Virginia, USA.
So a few moments later, I decided I'm going to walk out backwards. And the entire time I did that, and I got out of sight around the corner, whatever that thing was still standing there staring at me.
Did you hear that?
Built in 1866, the West Virginia Penitentiary in the small town of Moundsville operated as a maximum security prison for over a century before it closed for good in 1995. The penitentiary was the site of over 90 executions, and prisoners endured horrific living conditions, both of which are believed to have left an imprint on the prison. Now open for tours, visitors report seeing shadow figures and hearing disembodied voices like whispering and even loud yelling coming down corridors. Hotspots of paranormal activity include the Boiler Room, the so-called Sugar Shack, and the cell of Red Snyder, a convicted murderer who was stabbed to death in 1992.
What did they use to kill you? What?
Metal.
Metal.
You kidding me? Metal? Are you serious?
Number 16, Aokigahara, Honshu, Japan.
Last year, 45 Japanese traveled here from all over the country to end their lives. Local police became so alarmed, they began patrols.
Mount Fuji is one of Japan's most breathtaking sights, but just below it hides a dark underbelly. That is Aokigahara, an extremely dense forest known for its high rate of death. People often go to the forest to take their own lives, and trailheads litter paths urging visitors to reconsider their situation. This, combined with the forest's density, darkness, and calm silence, all add to a dreadful atmosphere. Aokigahara has been associated with death for a very long time. It is said to be inhabited by yurei, which are ghostly figures in Japanese folklore. The area is also linked to the mythical practice of ubatsude, which is when an elderly or sick family member was taken and left to die in a remote location.
We film the conversation from a distance. The police offer the man reassurance and escort him back to the station.
Number 15, the Gettysburg Battlefield, Gettysburg National Military Park, Pennsylvania, USA.
If you look very closely in the background, you can faintly see an unexplained figure walking.
Hauntings are said to result from great violence, and that is certainly the case with Gettysburg. Found in Adams County, Pennsylvania, this is the site of the magnificent Battle of Gettysburg, fought between July 1st and 3rd of 1863. Over 50,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or went missing in the conflict, making it one of the deadliest battles in American history. Naturally, Gettysburg is now considered one of the most haunted places in the country. There have been numerous reports from visitors, park rangers, and locals describing sightings of ghostly apparitions, many of which are dressed in Civil War uniforms. Gettysburg is also an intensely auditory experience, with visitors frequently hearing phantom gunfire, cannon blasts, drum beats, and the groans of wounded soldiers.
Turned the light off, and whatever this was, which had a perfect outline of a soldier, was about 10 foot away from us in the woods. My wife grabs the flashlight and takes off running to the car and leaves me there.
Number 14, Château de Brissac, Maine-et-Loire, France. Named a monument historique by the French Ministry of Culture, Château de Brissac dates back to the 11th century, although the structure we see today was constructed in the 17th century. It is currently owned by the noble Brissac family, who rent it out for tours and overnight visits. The chateau is said to host the ghost of Charlotte de Brissac, an illegitimate daughter of Charles VII of France. In 1477, Charlotte was murdered by her husband Jacques, who owned the chateau and who suspected Charlotte of having an affair. Many visitors and residents have reported seeing her disfigured spirit, making the Grand Château de Brissac a popular tourist destination for ghost enthusiasts and paranormal investigators. Number 13, LEP Castle, Kildare, Ireland.
We've decided to push ourselves to the limit, and to do that, we've come all the way to Ireland, to what has been described as the most haunted castle in Europe, and it's called LEP.
Found smack in the middle of Ireland is LEP Castle, whose long history is filled with tales of murder and betrayal. Dating back to the 13th century, the castle is home to many ghosts, including those of the MacMahon clan, who are said to have been massacred inside the castle in 1599. There's also the Elemental, a small hunched figure with decaying flesh who carries a powerful stench. And finally, there's the infamous Bloody Chapel, in which a member of the O'Carroll is said to have murdered his priest brother. The man of God now haunts the area, as do the victims of the Oubliette, a narrow pit inside the Bloody Chapel into which prisoners were thrown to rot.
It means a little place of forgetting. And those who were forgotten within these walls suffered unimaginable misery and pain until death.
Number 12, Poveglia, Venetian Lagoon, Italy.
A bit speechless right now. As you can see, we're pulling up on Poveglia.
As beautiful as Venice is, its dark and moody brother lives right next door. Found inside the Venetian Lagoon is Poveglia, a small island that was used as a quarantine station during bubonic plague outbreaks in the 18th and 19th centuries. It's said that the bodies of plague victims were burned on the island, and their ash mixed with the soil. In 1922, a mental health hospital was built on Poveglia, further adding to its mystique and eerie atmosphere, and it remained active until the late 1960s. The island now sits untouched, its crumbling structures housing disembodied voices, shadow figures, ghostly bells, and even the spirit of a mad doctor who performed grisly experiments on the patients of the mental hospital.
From listening to the evidence, we are able to make a path of where these unexplained footsteps traveled.
Number 11, Bangar Fort, Rajastan, India.
ये फेमस इसलिए है कि इस भानगढ़ को मोस्ट हॉन्टेड प्लेस के नाम से जाना जाता है। ये पूरा इंडिया में फर्स्ट नंबर है भूतों के बारे में कि भानगढ़ भूतों का है, भूत रहते हैं भानगढ़ के अंदर।
India's main paranormal hotspot is Bangar Fort, which was built back in the 16th century to house the son of Raja Bhagwan Das, a ruler of the Kingdom of Amber. The fort itself is an imposing structure, and its remote location and crumbling architecture contribute to its spooky ambiance. According to local legend, the fort and its surrounding area are cursed. One story posits that a local sadhu hexed the fort when its tall shadow fell upon his humble house. Another claims that a practitioner of black magic unleashed a curse when a local princess shunned his advances and accidentally killed him. Regardless, Bangar Fort is now said to be deeply haunted, a reputation bolstered by the fact that visits are prohibited after dark.
तो ऐसा कहा जाता है कि यहाँ पे बहुत पूरा जो एरिया है ये रात को यहाँ आवाज़ें आती हैं, जो भी आता है जिंदा नहीं जाता वापस हो जाता है.
Number 10, the Stanley Hotel, Estes Park, Colorado, USA.
My favorite photo is actually of Mr. and Mrs. Stanley looking out of a mirror in the billiard room taken about 4 years ago on a tour.
The place that inspired horror writer Stephen King to write The Shining? Yeah, that's definitely on the list. King stayed in room 217 of the Stanley Hotel and reportedly heard ghost children playing in the hallway. The ballroom is where the real action is, however, with accounts of kitchen staff thinking a party was going on in the room, but ultimately finding it unoccupied upon entering. Guests have also reported hearing the ballroom's piano, despite no one playing it. The show Ghost Hunters found reasonable explanations for certain sounds, but they could not decode occurrences in the ballroom.
And so it looks like the first anomaly appears to us to be like a lady dressed in black, and to the left of her, it looks like what is a child.
Number 9, Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh, Scotland.
This is where Rabs told me to meet him. It feels like another one of those horror tropes, you know, the big creepy castle, the big door.
Medieval castles in Europe are always a popular tourist attraction thanks to their long and interesting history. Edinburgh Castle, however, is one of the most haunted spots in Scotland. Reportedly, of course. Visitors have claimed to have seen the spirits of colonial prisoners from the American Revolutionary War and French prisoners from the 7 Years' War. The most famous spirit, though, is the ghost of a piper who was sent to explore the underground tunnels and never returned. Legend says the faint sound of music can still be heard from within the castle.
Ingrid, you said it, we're in the most haunted castle in Scotland. How many ghosts are we talking about?
Oh, multiple.
Multiple. Great.
Number 8, the Catacombs of Paris, Paris, France.
Yes, some people even cannot believe that these are real bones.
These people are just piled up.
Yes.
If you wanted to find a ghost, looking in the place where Parisians placed the bones of their dead for decades would be a great place to start. The Catacombs of Paris hold the remains of nearly 6 million people, and so the site is essentially a mass grave. If that's not creepy enough, the ossuaries are a small part of Paris's vast network of underground tunnels and caverns. In 1871, French revolutionists massacred a group of monarchists in one of the underground chambers. With that much death and that much history, how can they not be haunted?
Did the builders of the Paris catacombs desecrate the souls of the dead by moving their bones from cemeteries to the dark tunnels beneath the city?
Number 7, the RMS Queen Mary, Long Beach, California, USA.
The majestic and notoriously haunted royal ship turns 90 this year, and a very special room can be reserved for those who don't mind an extra guest.
The RMS Queen Mary, once a prominent ocean liner in the North Atlantic Ocean, has been the subject of haunting rumors ever since it was permanently docked in California. The most haunted area of the ship is the engine room, where a 17-year-old sailor died while trying to escape a fire. Cabin B340 is also said to be haunted, this time by the spirit of a murder victim, while the ghost of a young girl allegedly haunts the pool area after a drowning accident. Yikes.
Door, and as soon as we turn, we're about to get out of the room, the faucet turns on full blast for 4 seconds and then turns back off.
Number 6, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, San Francisco Bay, California, USA.
From prison to tourist destination. Now, over the years, there have been plenty of spooky stories.
Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary has been cited as one of the most haunted places in the United States. There are numerous reports of ghostly encounters in the utility corridor, where 3 inmates were killed in a failed escape attempt. Cell 14D is another supposedly haunted area of the prison, due to a legend that says an inmate once spent a night calling out that he was being murdered by a creature with glowing eyes. Lo and behold, he was found throttled to death the next day. Al Capone's ghost also allegedly haunts the prison. so enter at your own risk.
A lot of the paranormal claims are sounds. You know, that's a...
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. I caught it on my camera.
Number 5, Borley Rectory, Essex, England.
Borley Rectory, in the tiny East Anglian hamlet whose name it bears, was once known as the most haunted house in England.
The village of Borley is not the sort of place you would associate with ghosts, but it is home to the infamous Borley Rectory, considered to be the most haunted house in all of England. Once the site of an ancient monastery, legend has it that a monk and nun were killed in the area after their affair was discovered. The nun allegedly haunts the grounds of the rectory, while multiple tenants have reported paranormal activity like the ringing of bells, the breaking of windows, and the appearance of writing on the walls.
On one occasion, I thought one of the pencil marks was actually moving as I saw it. It seems mad, but I think that's what I saw at the time.
Number 4, the Myrtles Plantation, St. Francisville, Louisiana, USA.
The Myrtles is known to be America's most haunted house, and those stories have been with us for years.
The Myrtles Plantation is rumored to be located on an ancient Indian burial ground and is said to be home to 12 ghosts, including Chloe, a former enslaved girl. Supposedly, Chloe was caught spying on her owner, had her ear cut off, and hid it with a turban. She tried to get revenge by poisoning a birthday cake, but the plan backfired when only the owner's wife and children ate the cake, and all died. Chloe was hanged and thrown into the Mississippi River, and her spirit supposedly haunts the plantation to this day.
You might come in the house and you feel someone touch you on the shoulder, or you feel someone stroke your hair, or like I have so many times walking through the house, they'll tug on my clothing.
Number 3, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Louisville, Kentucky, USA.
If death has a home address, it's Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
One of the most haunted hospitals in America, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium was built to help handle the outbreak of tuberculosis in Jefferson County in the early 1900s. Urban legend claims that over 60,000 people died at the sanatorium, many of whom were sent down the death tunnel, a chute used to lower the dead bodies in a secretive manner to prevent patients from seeing how many people were being killed by the disease. Room 502 is also rumored to be haunted by a nurse who took her own life with a light bulb wire.
There was said to be a nurse that hung herself. Is that true?
Yes.
It is?
It is true.
Number 2, Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA.
We're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to be locked down and investigate the Eastern State Penitentiary, considered to be one of the most haunted buildings in the world.
Eastern State Penitentiary was home to some of the harshest punishments in the United States, including the water bath, the mad chair, and the iron gag. The first prison to use solitary confinement, many Eastern State Penitentiary prisoners went insane because of its extreme conditions and isolation. Numerous people have reported hearing cackling from cell block 12, while mysterious ghostly faces are said to appear in cell block 4. Even Al Capone was allegedly haunted by the ghost of James Clark, one of the men he had murdered during his incarceration.
Was this a spirit drawing the energy from our equipment to be heard?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, the Tower of London, London, England.
For almost 1,000 years, this revered landmark has been at the center of the grand drama that is English history.
The place where multiple executions, murders, and tortures have taken place over the last 1,000 years? If there is a haunted place in the world, this is surely it. Our top pick is allegedly home to hundreds of ghosts, including Lady Jane Grey, Henry VI, Sir Walter Raleigh, and Thomas Becket. However, perhaps the most famous resident is the spirit of Anne Boleyn. Her ghost has been seen on many occasions, usually in the Tower Chapel Royal or on Tower Green, and she is often carrying her head in her arms.
Why are you here?
To see my daughter. She was the only pure thing in my life, and in my life I neglected her.
Do you have an experience with these haunted locations? Let us know in the comments below.
If you don't believe in ghosts, a visit to Ireland might change your mind.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.